Hi everybody, this is Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll from the movie Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, and we're here to talk about the movies that inspired this movie and things that we stole from.
Watch this. Hold on to your butts.
The biggest inspiration that people wouldn't think about is actually a documentary from 1999. It's about Jerry Seinfeld's return to comedy. It's called Comedian. And you would not think that that would be an important influence on a movie like ours. You'd probably think it's more like Borat or Tom Green. But this movie is a super low budget handycam video shot in New York and a little bit in Los Angeles. And there's something about that era of video technology and how they're shooting it all in real locations, almost hidden camera, even though they clearly have permission to be there.
It's also the themes that they discuss.
Yes.
The journey, the grind, the love for the world.
Even if you aren't going to get success.
Even if you aren't going to get there. The Sisyphusian, just forever loop. It really works with what we've always leaned into.
And I would say in terms of just how to approach art, again, when we were young, it just had such a profound effect on us. And I think the aesthetics of that documentary wound up influencing us way more than we even realize. And
we ripped off the ending.
Yeah, we
completely.
Yeah, we basically admit it with the song that we use in the closing credits of this movie that is a out-and-out ripoff of the end of Comedian. We'll go one for one with movies.
The talented Mr. Ripley. No, this movie influenced the first iteration of our movie, but still our respect and reverence for this movie, I think, is really fun in the way it plays characters off of each other in the very sort of Machiavellian, almost pseudo-sexual way.
And I think the reason we both love Ripley is that you have Damon, Law, Paltrow, and Philip Seymour Hoffman all giving very straight line reads. Like they're not trying to be funny ever, and yet
you like everybody.
There's a laugh on every page. And I think Jay and I are always trying to make one another laugh by saying the most direct and sincere dialogue that we can. To us, it's one of the funniest movies we've ever seen in our lives.
When Hoffman's starting to put it together and he's in his apartment.
Right, where the characters clearly know.
Yeah.
They clearly know that something is going on with one another. These are major spoilers if you haven't seen it. I was thinking more of when Damon is like, well, that's it. Me and Dickie are going to fall in love. And then that's when Dickie says, you know, I think I'm done with the trumpet. I'm going to get into the drums.
I'm thinking of giving up the sax. What do you think about the drums?
And Damon's like, what?
Hold on a second. I was just getting my feet down right here.
You don't even like jazz, do you?
Think about getting a boat tomorrow, and then it cuts to the boat. And it's just, oh, this is moving.
It's worst case scenario for Damon. He's got no choice but to kill the object of his lust.
God, no, it's not funny. It's not funny.
Another big movie that's so obvious is Back to the Future, which we're ripping off the literal beats of. But I want to take it slightly broader than that because
Let's do it.
It's not just that we're ripping off that movie. We're actually trying to do a pastiche of like the American event movie of the 80s.
The fact that that movie was a peak time for that, unbelievable era of movie making.
Very clear storytelling where the protagonist has just got like a life or death goal and it's unironic in how high the stakes are for this guy.
Whoa, I'm stuck here. I can't be stuck here. I got a life in 1985.
We've seen that diminish quite a bit. Now these types of movies are almost laughable, that there's no edge or twist or like the character doesn't have some meta dimension beyond their goals. And so for us, because the movie in itself is a gigantic reconstruction of reality already, it just makes so much sense for us to be constantly parodying these things from the 80s and 90s, these very sincere, typically American stories.
And lifted with such great ceremony, like with the score being the orchestral thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? Looking under the hood of what that music does, is it plays with a very, it's called the octatonic scale or the diminished scale. And when you jump around the diminished chords the way Alan Silvestri does, the whole Back to the Future score is just a play on the octatonic scale. And once you get that in your toolkit and you jump around, you are going to hear on your fingers right in front of you the sound of the big Hollywood orchestra era.
It's going to be really hard waiting 30 years before I can talk to you about everything that's happened in the past few days. I'm really going to miss you, Marty.
I'm really gonna miss you.
Yeah, we love that whole era. And we were kids when that hit us. So we've been chasing that feeling our whole lives.
Well, the feeling that movies are magic and that stories are, they have a religious element to them when you're a kid. When you go to the movies and you see something, you're like, whatever this is, I want to be this. And I mean that in a totalizing way. I want to be this whole movie. I want to be Star Wars, the movie. Wanting the media to consume you is something that these characters really get subconsciously sucked into, to the point where they become characters in their own movie in a kind of unknowing way. I think we should probably talk about
Indiana Jones.
no, I was going to say a non-movie influence is extremely Canadian, which is Tom Green.
Oh, yeah.
Even though Tom wasn't doing like narrative storytelling in the same way, he really was, for us anyway, the first to go into the street with a camera, specifically in Ontario.
Before the internet, remember? Like, it's hard to...
Spray it on your pants.
It was like we didn't know that you were allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And even to this day, it still feels somewhat progressive to go out into the street and film things with real people. For us anyway, Tom Green invented that. I know he kind of stumbled into it, but that doesn't matter. I mean, he still invented a format.
Yeah.
So I would say most of the credit in terms of us being able to do this really goes to him.
Well, just in terms of the fact that this is the reality of our lives, because that we bonded over Tom Green. We just opened up that door, and that's why we chose to start doing this stuff.
This is going to be the last plan you and I ever have to do. And as far as I'm concerned, Nirvana the band is playing the Rivoli tonight.
So if these movies are at all interesting to you, and you want to see every single one of these references tied up in one gigantic comedy, come check out Nirvana the Band, the show, the movie, in theaters this Friday across the country. Bring a date on Valentine's Day if you want to test your relationship, because I guarantee if you go
That's true.
to this movie on a first date
Yeah.
and you both love it, you will get married. But it may also be the last time you see this person.
It's Friday, okay.
Or Saturday. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.